Sarah here at Three Little Potters, and today I have a kiln opening for you. I have peeked at the first shelf and it is both good and not good, but let me turn you around so that you can see what I'm seeing. Yeah, that piece right there. Wow. That looks like some stuff. There's a few other pieces attached to the kiln shelf. Ooh, look at this crawling piece here. The bowl looks very nice. So if you're wondering what I did, let me tell you so that you can not repeat the horror that is this poor piece. You know, it would actually be really pretty if it wasn't like so rough and jaggedy. It almost looks like rock or something, sedimentary rock. What did I do? I bought some Nebula Blue by Laguna clay in dry form, and I was trying to load the kiln quickly, and I decided to mix up that glaze, and I guessed at the water. And I think it needs to be obviously a lot thinner. So I did not widely test this on test pieces before going ahead and putting it on some finished pieces. So it looks like the specific gravity for Nebula Blue should be lower than 150, at least when it's in its dry form. So yeah, gorgeous results on the top. This was Nebula Blue with a little bit of shallot on the top rim here, just to here, and absolutely gorgeous, but and my kiln shelf. Oh. So yeah, we're gonna see that a lot, I guess, on the Nebula Blue ones. Yes. Very pretty. Ooh, something pinged loudly. And this is another new glaze that I just mixed up. Rising Sun Chang. I did go a little high on the specific gravity of this because I love how it looks when it's thicker on the brown bear clay, but maybe not quite that thick. So I think that was a specific gravity of 157. Probably go 150 on that one. Yeah, the woes of mixing, right? This is micro pearl, and yes, micro pearl with, I believe, Rising Sun Chang on the rim. Some new combos here, and I've got a new clay in the mix. This was a refire. Apparently it shouldn't have been, because the spot, the one pinhole that I refired it for, this wasn't like this on the bottom before. So, you know, sometimes those refires are worth it and sometimes they just aren't. Okay, so this is the new clay, and it is Dragon Fruit Extreme Blue, and I'm doing a review on this clay at some point in the next week or two. On the inside of it is Sunrise ×2. I wanted to see how that looked over a blue clay, and it did fill in too. I don't see any pinholes or anything there. You never know with the heavy speckled clay body. Yeah, interesting. Okay, my kiln shelf is a mess. This has pinholes. This is Red Lotus, and I guess not thick enough this time. You know me, I was pretty scared about Red Lotus going all over my kiln shelf, but I had good luck with it in Brown Bear last time, although just no color and it pinholed, so you'd think I'd stop trying with it. And this is it here too. I think it just needed to be thicker on the Brown Bear. Maybe hotter? I don't know. I know it likes a cool kiln, but pinholes and very black. Okay. So this was a mix clay of a little bit of the Extreme Blue with my B mix. And that's Nebula Blue over top. And I believe it had a little bit of mint speck on it. It's not really showing, so. And this is June Purple. It has a bit of green jasper on the outside, and it has a bit of shipwreck and snow on the inside. this did not come out as intended. This is Louisiana Bayou and Spanish moss, and I just think I did not go thick enough with the Louisiana Bayou. I was hoping to kind of showcase the textured pattern, but didn't really work the way I wanted it to. Hopefully a refire will solve some of that. And this one was variegated Dove Gray, and I have Tim's Dark Celadon in those grooves there. These are shaving dishes, so you like, I'll show you when we get a better one. I'll show you when we get a better one out. All right, here we go. Well, this behaved itself. Oh, this is lovely. Okay, this is Aurora Breeze and Sunrise over Studio White. Kind of love that area where it's a little bit whiter, and then the outside. Aurora Breeze, right? I hated it. That first run of tests I did. Well, I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it, but I like it here. This is pretty. All right, as long as there's one win per shelf, I'll be okay. Okay, Micro Pearl and Nebula Blue. Micro Pearl and Shipwreck do not go together. That one crawled. Floating Sunset by Old Forge Creations with Heath A2V Ivory on the top of that. This is a refire. It did have, I believe it had some red gold by Coyote over white, and then I went ahead and put Nori green over the top to try to cover up. It was just kind of a light brown streaky color. It is more interesting with the Nori. Sunrise over Studio White. This, I believe, is, sorry, I'm looking at it. I think it's Chun Seafoam ×2 with a little bit of Shipwreck and a little bit of snow. Floating Sunset. And this bowl would be really pretty, except I think I dribbled wax on the side. My husband actually dribbled wax on the side. I had him glaze a few pieces, you know, wax the bottoms of a few pieces for me, and he did like 6, and then he's like, "Oh, I messed up this one." I think he also got some wax on this one. If he's watching, I'm not complaining. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm sorry, it's Dove Gray and Louisiana Bayou. Is everything going to be on the Kiln shelf today? It's Chun Seafoam and Lynette Opal on Brown Bear. Variegated Dove with Tim's Dark Celadon on the rim. Floating Sunset with Dirty Snow. And this is also Floating Sunset with Dirty Snow. This is Shallot on Extreme Blue Dragon Fruit Clay. The inside looks good. Yeah, I would say all of these Spectrum floating glazes seem to be fine on that clay, and it's definitely interesting how the dark blue of the clay shows through. I don't love it as much as I thought I would. So wait, hold on a second, I'm going off camera. So this is the Extreme Blue Dragon Fruit Clay when it's bisque, and that's it there. But that's for a review for a different day. June Purple with Shallot. Chun Seafoam. I think my specific gravity is too high on everything. So I think I had a question on my Chun Seafoam review video about adding bentonite to Chuntsy foam to improve keeping it in the mix rather than CMC. And I think I'd said, oh, I don't know why I don't do that. I'd always done CMC. It didn't affect the color. This batch has bentonite in it. It went on fine. It was nice and thick, perhaps too thick. But yeah, the color seems fine. So bentonite is a perfectly good use in that recipe. This is shallot over micro pearl. And that one's safe. All right, shelf number 2. Is it just me or is just too much stuff on my kiln shelf this time around? That is not quite what I was expecting there either. Although that's pretty. Just everything hit the kiln shelf. Okay. This is June Purple and Chuntsy foam and shipwreck with a little bit of snow. And it's very pretty, but I do need to grind the bottom. Hopefully I can salvage that. Okay, this is Tim's Dark Celadon, Dove Gray with a band of shipwreck. This one's just for me, so. All right, this is Micro Pearl with indigo underglaze on the bottom here, wiped back for the texture, and then a full dip in Micro Pearl. I don't know if it was quite as exciting as I thought. I thought it would be more, you see this blue here where the underglaze is by itself? Micro Pearl seemed to make it a little bit of a darker blue. What do we think? I don't know. And that is the same unexpected results here where it went more blue-green. So these shaving dishes, they have texture on the inside to sort of help lather. So I have these like little things. We'll see. We will see. And this was, I believe, what is in here? I think that was Midnight Glaze in the bottom, wiped back with Micro Pearl over top. And again, not really what I was expecting there. I was expecting sort of vibrant color coming through the Micro Pearl, but maybe it just tones it down a little bit. And this is a this is a pot off the floor, and it's got everything on it. So I can't even tell you. It's got some poppy fields, it's got some monsoon seas, it's got some what is it, night lights, and then it's got Chuntsy foam, and then it's got some snow. Anyway, no one's ever going to recreate it, and it's just a wildflower vase from the floor from years ago. Okay, so this one is Floating Sunset in Studio White and Dirty Snow. So on the inside, I tried putting Dirty Snow in the grooves. What was that? I tried putting Dirty Snow in the grooves first and then covering that over to see what that would look like. So it's sort of an under-over thing. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that one yet. Okay, this was Nebula Blue and I believe Ivy. Actually, maybe Nebula Blue and Chuntsy foam. Either way, it's all over my shelf. And I believe those two glazes, when they're layered, look very similar. Okay. Louisiana Bayou with a bit of Nebula Blue at the top. And that is on Rue Stoneware. Oh, that's pretty. So this is the Extreme Blue Nice drip on that one. Extreme blue dragon fruit clay, and then, yeah, the inside's really interesting. Not sure what I poured in there that's turned blue, but I don't believe that's the color I was expecting. So yeah. The glazes seem to be working well with this extreme blue clay. I was expecting a lot of off-gassing from the speckles and was expecting that most of those pieces would be ruined with pinholes, but that does not seem to be the case. Floating sunset over brown bear clay. Sadness. Okay, I believe this is Rising Sun Chang with Shipwreck. And Louisiana, I'm sorry, Rising Sun Chang with Shipwreck and also Lynette Opal. This was a refire. It was really heavily carved last time, slightly less this time, but I still don't know if I'm going to be able to fill in those holes. The fill-in was Louisiana Bayou this time. And this is Floating Celadon over Studio White. I believe this is Green Jasper over Blue Nebula. I don't know what it is. I think it's Micro Pearl and Blue Nebula as well. Aurora Breeze over Studio White. Goodness, why does the table keep making that noise? Rising Sun Chang with Aurora Breeze. Some of these results are really surprising to me. Actually, I was not expecting some of these to work that did work. Despite being on my shelf, they actually did work. So, Tim's Dark Celadon over Micro Pearl. A runny combo. This is Nori Green over Micro Pearl. Going a little bit more brown blue. Dove Gray with Tim's Dark Celadon. Night and Chun Seafoam. Micro Pearl. And, well, it was Nebula Blue on the top, and then it had a little pinhole, and I fixed it with some Chun Seafoam. My kiln shells are sad. This is Micro Pearl with Louisiana Bayou. It's really pretty, minus that. All right, I'm trying not to get too sad about all these kiln shelf errors. Micro Pearl with Emerald Green. Emerald Green is a mixed glaze. It's got a lot of sort of chrome in it. Definitely more of a gray in that spot, so I think this was a redo with Shipwreck on top of what was just a little bit of oyster over white. Okay, the Tim's Dark Celadon with Laguna Blue Nebula. Oh, this is just getting sad. Oh, I remember the time when everything was all over my kiln shelf. Okay, Louisiana Bayou with Nebula Blue. It's Micro Pearl. And I believe that's Micro Pearl with Floating Celadon. I was expecting a little bit more. Kind of just a really pretty light combo there. Micro Pearl with a tiny bit of Floating Sunset. It's a pretty brown color. Dove with Eggplant by Coyote. Dove with Louisiana Bayou. And I believe this is Micro Pearl with Eggplant from Coyote. Emerald Green, the mixed glaze over Studio White with a bit of Dirty Snow. I'm afraid to look at the next shelf down. Okay, so the next shelf down, I had forgotten that I've done this too, has some purple crawl glaze. So the, what is it, CR54, one of those new Amico glazes that I'm going to do a review for. So let's look at some preview of that. Sorry. Looks really cool. And oh my, what mess is that? All right, let's pull it. Let's start with this disaster here. What happened to you? Just what happened? I don't know. I tested the Micro Pearl. I tested it already. This is Micro Pearl on Roost Stoneware. And I just must have put something on the top or something. I don't even know why. The specific gravity of the Micro Pearl has not changed since the last test. This is super cool. So where it was over the white, the crawl glaze is actually completely smooth to the touch, but here it's a really fun texture to touch, and it's not sharp, and it's not like, I was worried that it was going to make a cup non-usable, but the drinking part is completely smooth and the texture's only in this middle section. So that is a definite win. And that was over my Studio White glaze. So I was so mad at this clay, but I know it's a story for another day, but look, literally like half of the pieces that I threw with the extreme blue clay cracked on the bottom. And I'm shocked at how well it does with the glazes. I wanted it to just kind of be horrible with the glazes so that I would never ever consider buying it again, but here it is looking outstanding with the glazes. So Purple Aster over Extreme Blue. So the white that I'm pouring on the inside is really letting a lot of the blue show through. Monsoon Seas by itself. Is that Monsoon Seas? I'm sorry, I might be Northern Lights. I'm not even gonna try with these jungle gems. Remembering, I basically I'm doing a follow-up video for everybody who is like, oh no, the jungle gems are going to be so much brighter and better if you do them not over white, just 3 coats on plain clay. But so far those aren't too impressive. But wow, my Rising Sunshine, it looks so pretty when it's this thick, except for that. All right, I'm gonna have to thin it down, figure out a different way to apply it. So Rising Sunshine over Brown Bear Clay. Oh, sorry. This looks good. Okay, except that most of my texture filled in there. This is Midnight, and it is variegated Dove Gray. A little shaver. That's pretty. Purple Aster over Night, and that crawled. I didn't know if I'd done that combo before. purple aster over June purple, and that one did work. And I think this was purple aster over micro pearl. Hard to tell. There's a lot of bare spot on that clay now, so that was a complete fail. So purple aster does not like all the other glazes. Sand and Sea and Fuzzy Peach. This was a refire. Added a little more Fuzzy Peach, and it did fill in. I believe this is Rising Sun Chang on the Extreme Blue Dragon Fruit Clay. And really, really pretty. Oh. Is that one cracked on the bottom? Hey, that's one of the ones that's not cracked on the bottom. There's some hope for this clay. Wow. Oh, why does it have to look good with the glazes? Why? Oh. Yeah, it's Fuzzy Peach on Dragon Fruit with a little bit of Sand and Sea. Also Fuzzy Peach. Yeah, Fuzzy Peach, and I think just a little bit of Sand and Sea too on this one. Whoa. Love you. Wow. Coyote Blue Purple on Rue Stoneware. Little teeny bit of flux at the top. Rising Sun Chang on Rue Stoneware. That Glaze loves that clay. That's great. Okay, what do we have here? So we have Dove Gray, and we have some blue purple. I believe that's Coyote Blue Purple, maybe a line of Coyote Red Gold as well, and some flux up at that rim. It's kind of an interesting combo. Rising Sun Chang, but misbehaving. It's all right. I'll get it. I'll get it down. The theme of today is my poor kiln shelves. So I got a dry mix of ivy, mixed it up to their specifications, and looked a little thick to me. Should have gone with my gut, thinned that one down some more. But yeah, it looks gorgeous. It's just on my kiln shelf. Future Sarah here. Just a couple notes about this glaze load, which is a disaster. Ivy specifically, now this is, I've been used to the commercial brush on glaze. I bought the commercial dry mix and I mixed it according to package instructions. I felt like it looked thick to me. I measured the specific gravity. The package suggests a specific gravity, I believe 1.47 to 1.51, somewhere in there. When I was done adding water, I went down to 1.42, meaning that I watered this glaze down a lot so that it wouldn't be as thick on my pieces. And despite doing that, it was still not thin enough. So I just want you to know, if you're firing to cone 6 or a little bit of a hot cone 6, this glaze really wants a low specific gravity. If you happen to be mixing it yourself from the dry mix, I would be cautious in following their instructions and would possibly test it yourself. Obviously, that was not the only glaze that ran in this kiln load, so going forward, I'm adjusting my kiln schedule, my firing schedule. So this schedule had a 4-minute hold at my top temperature. And the first thing to do will be take out that 4-minute hold. As my kiln elements age, my kiln will struggle to get to that top temperature, and so it'll spend more time getting there. More heat work will be done on the piece, and therefore you get a situation where you can have more running. So to combat that as my elements age, sometimes I'll need to bring down that top temperature a tiny bit. So, but taking the hold off of that top is the biggest first step. So hopefully better luck in the future. Dove Gray and Midnight on Rue Stoneware. And this is a Dove Gray and Midnight on Extreme Blue. Rose Quartz over Micro Pearl. Rose Quartz over Studio White. This is a bit of my June Purple over Extreme Blue. White on the inside. This is Amethyst with a little bit of snow over Studio White. Coyote Amethyst. The one pot that went everywhere actually threw glaze onto this pot. And this is Dove Gray with Coyote's Amethyst. I think that also had a tiny bit of rose quartz added too. This is Coyote's Blue Purple on Brown Bear Clay. I think my dog would like to come in. And this is Coyote's Blue Purple on Rue Stoneware. Not sure why that one may be a little too thin there. Ivy, just a little bit of ivy over Micro Pearl. Purple Aster and Chun Seafoam. And this is Night and Coyote's Red Gold. Last shelf. I know, I see it too. This kiln load is keeping me humble with the amount of stuff that's on my kiln shelf. This would have been really, really pretty if it hadn't been for what happened there. It is Ivy and Micro Pearl. I added some amethyst over this, and I think some Coyote Blue Purple in that one spot at least. I don't know, that's what that looks like to me, but that's a refire. I don't love it. And I don't love all this stuff on my kiln shelf. Ivy over Rue. This is Archie's Base and Pam's Green. I did sort of this organic sort of bowl, berry bowl. I don't know if it's a berry bowl. I would eat berries out of this. Yeah, looks cool. Not what I was expecting from that combo, but again, Pam's Green and Blue Green by Coyote. And that's the back of the dish. Chun Seafoam and Shipwreck on Extreme Blue. Everything with Ivy is just a complete disaster. This was Ivy and Blue Purple by Coyote. Wow. ivy on the extreme blue clay. It's amazing. I wish it had behaved. That's just some amazing variegation for ivy. I mean, ivy's usually pretty, but with the blue clay, it's really interesting. And this is Coyote's red gold. And I have night on the outside. I was expecting the night to be blacker. This is my Studio White glaze over the extreme blue clay. Pam's green over brown bear clay. It's like a little leaf, but not really green enough. Some of these are refires, Bermuda with a little bit of amethyst added to it. This is micro pearl and ivy. It's interesting. I believe this is Pam's green on brown bear clay. It looks like it's got some ivy too. Amethyst overnight. This was fuzzy peach, a little bit of a refire on some tangerine. Spanish moss and micro pearl. Ivy that we shall not speak of. This is speckled grapple over Studio White with dirty snow. And this is amethyst over Studio White. This is extreme blue clay, and that is Archie's base and Coyote blue green. I think overall from this load, one of my favorites is here. The Aurora Breeze and Sunrise I thought was really pretty. Some of these combos with the extreme blue, the crawl glaze is really, maybe this one is my favorite out of the whole load. Kind of a mixed kiln load, some real highs, some real lows. A lot of mess on my kiln shelves. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully next load will be a little cleaner. Have a great day. My favorite piece from this kiln opening was this, and this is made with Aurora Breeze and Sunrise. The first thing I did was a dip of Studio White all over. This is just a quick 1-second dip in my Studio White glaze. You'll have seen that in my Save Money glazing video. I did Sunrise in this section here, one brushed coat. I did Aurora Breeze, a band of it all around, and here to here. And then I went ahead and did another coat of Sunrise here, and I think I did just a teeny bit more in the middle there. So this section here is just Aurora Breeze over my white, and here you can sort of see that color peeking out by itself, and I do like that technique. I think it's a pretty variegation there.